Welcome to fulfilling this belly sting. A show dedicated to aligning a journey to a better mental health using the understandings of the ancient Norse. Join us each weekday morning at 7 a.m. Alaska time. Someone's little girl, daughter, sister, girlfriend, fiance, wife, cousin, mother, auntie, grandmother, great grandmother, elder, disappears, shattering, a family, a community, the world. There is something we can all do. Remember them. Look at that.
God morgen, and happy Freyja's Day to you. Today we embrace the energy management and the understanding that Freyja brought to Midgard, to all of Midgard. So, before we get started today, I want to say thank you to all of you who have liked, followed, and subscribed. If you haven't had the chance, please do so. Click that button. Make sure you're ringing the bell there for notifications each weekday morning as we come to you with the message of that day. Remember, not only are we available with the video platform, we're also available in the audio platform as well. So iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe the Forfelliness Belly Sneak, and there you will get our show each and every morning. I want to give a huge shout out to my friends and family at New Reality, New Reality TV. newrealitytv.com is a wonderful collection of many different perspectives that hopefully bring to you that piece of intellect that you're needing to kind of fulfill your quest for wisdom and peace and harmony within your mind. If you do happen to find yourself with some extra coins jingling around in the pocket, you want to put them to good use, by all means, hit up our tip jars. Those are available at pay.akoutlaw.com or akoutlaw.live. So either of those work can get you to making whatever donation you'd like, if it's small or as big as you would like. So every little bit goes to help us promote this message, both in the technological side as well as the in-person visits. So anything helps. So thank you for considering that. For those of you who may be interested in my teachings, more about me, more about my shows, more about just everything I bring, not to mention a place where we can begin a dialogue, opening up the ideas of questions, you can visit my website. Also, there you will find my life coaching services that you can begin and hopefully get a different perspective to the challenges that you may be having in your spiritual journey. So check it out, norsewhispers.com. norsewhispers.com/coaching is, of course, the life coaching services. So check all of those out. Today we're talking about Freyja. Freyja, the sister of Freyr, and a very complex goddess who served a really exciting role in the generation and the understandings of energies throughout the cosmos. Now, one of the things that Freyja is kind of most noted for is magic. She brought magic not only to Asgard by teaching Odin, but she also brought it to Midgard. And she would entrust this magic with certain individuals. And so Seether magic, Spakkraft magic, all of these forms of magic were released or introduced to the those on Midgard that they may use. But what is magic, really? We see a lot of magicians and a lot of illusionists creating quite the illusion that certain things are happening. However, it all comes down to energy and energy movement. Now, my ancestors have taught me in the two forms of magic that the Norse particularly were very famous for, or knew of. The first was Seether. And Seether magic is simply that magic where I'm going to incant a spell and cast it out. And there are other entities among the spiritual realm and the physical realm that are going to help it along its way. The analogy that my great-grandmother would give me is, imagine, if you will, traveling, walking this long road. And, this is a very long road. I'm really tired and my legs hurt or whatever. And so we stop, we cast a spell, and we say, to the gods, we just cast out that energy and we say, help me traverse this journey. Help me make this journey. And when we cast out that spell, we cast out the energy out to the spiritual realm. That energy is then carried by other spiritual entities that are going to then begin to do things along the way. So as we continue our walk, we've incanted our spell. The Landvadi, those spirits among the lands, are going to visit. Say, along your path, you pass a large field that horses sometimes run in them. Well, the Landvadi are going to know that. They're going to go to the rancher who has the horses, and they're going to kind of convince him to let the horse run wild. Let the horse run in the pasture, and that way he can get exercise and he can be out and be free. They're going to go convince the horse that says, hey, if you happen to see this traveler walking on the other side of the pasture there, give him a ride. Let him ride you for the duration of this path. And so those energies are going to start to come to fruition and eventually guiding the horse to the traveler along the path where they meet up. And of course, the horse is convinced that it needs to offer this traveler a ride to the other end of their pasture. That's really a great example of Seether magic. And Seether magic also allowed us to see beyond the physical, beyond the sensory input. By connecting to the spiritual realm, we were capable of seeing long distances, the future, many different things you could see with Seether magic. Why? Because you were communicating with the spiritual realm. Spakkraft magic was the other form of magic that the Norse really recognized. And Spakkraft really allowed us, it involved the magician themselves having the energy to bring something to fruition. So in this case, they would incant their spell, invest the energy, all of the energy necessary to bring it to manifestation. So they could manifest that which they were incanting a spell for, whether that be an emotional shift with others, whether that be the scenario, many different situations coming together in the right way, or a physical manifestation, all of which is simply an energy movement between two sources. So that's really what magic is. And Freyja the goddess Freyja recognized that, and she knew how this worked. She could move energy around, which is why we see her being recognized as the goddess of love and of war. Well, of course, as the goddess of war, she really kind of reflected the conflict between the Asir, the more warriorous tribes of gods and goddesses, versus the Vanir. The Vanir, which also had gods and goddesses, a different tribe, were kind of more focused around everyday life. So we see a lot of like fertility and health and happiness. So all of these things really come from the Vanir, whereas the Asir were more warriorous. So we find Thor, Balder, Vidar, the many different gods and goddesses, kind of more focused around conflict and the traits and the skills necessary for conflict. When those two tribes would finally meet and discuss and draw up a peace treaty, one of the things that they would do to kind of maintain the peace between them is to exchange gods and goddesses between the two. And so the Vanir would invite some Asir gods and goddesses to come live with them. The Asir would invite some Vanir gods and goddesses to come live with them in Asgard. So we find Freyja being part of this interchange. Freyja would go live with and establish a hall in Asgard with the Asir tribe. Now, when she got there, she would, of course, teach Othin this magic, this movement of energy. She would also invite him to, of which he would do, go learn the magic of the runes, which he did on his own, but she would teach him magic. But she's also bringing this energy management to Midgard, not just magic. Although magic is a fairly powerful, centralized reason to certainly manage our energy, it's not the only one. Remember, all of our world, all of our understandings of the reality that we experience is simply energy within our mind. So energy comes in, sensory input, it's converted to bioelectricity to move across the nerves within this physical form to a place where we can create emotional energy, and then emotional energy is then translated back into this bioelectricity that the body and the mind can retain, i.e. the memories. All a very different part and all a very important parts. Freyja was the one who kind of spoke of this, and she teaches of this management of energy of the universe, energy of other entities, energy of the interactivity. All of these things Freyja understood. And so I offer you some of that same understanding. Just a simple life is simply a management of energies, whether it be energies that we're accepting by potentially attempted influential energies, or our own energies that we're creating via either emotions or imagination, both of which are fairly powerful. When we think about emotional energy, we know that emotional energy has a very powerful impact on the way we see our world, on the way we interpret, our brain interprets the reality at which we are experiencing. Again, if we're in a good mood or bad mood, it kind of sets the tone, and it kind of establishes what part of this physical reality we're actually going to see or overlook. I'm always reminded when I'm speaking of Freyja about the homeless, in our communities. For many years, I don't know about you, but for me, I simply overlooked them. I didn't see them. Not that I was wanting to be rude or anything or hurtful or anything like that. I meant no negative energies discharged at all. But I was fairly busy with my own life, and I was trying to establish myself and get things going and do things. And my brain simply didn't pick them out. So, as they were scattered around in doorsteps or in camps, whatever, my brain simply didn't see them. No fault of theirs. I mean, they were just living their lives. But my brain wouldn't pick it out. Why? Because I had set the energy to set the filter that eliminated them from the image. From the images I was receiving, there wasn't any of these peoples. As I've aged and I've kind of changed my mood and changed different things, I'm now beginning to see them. And I see them in camps. I see them gathered around doorsteps and the like here in Anchorage, particularly here in Anchorage. This is one of the greatest things that the human mind does, but that can defeat us to some extent. Many times when receiving a report about a motorcycle accident and the motorcyclist struck the car because the car pulled out in front of them. One of the greatest, or I would say the most frequent answer is that I never saw them. I didn't see them. Why? Because we've programmed our brain not to look for them. This is very dangerous as a motorcycle rider here in Anchorage. Each spring, when we first start riding again, and we get the motorcycles out of the garage and there's not ice and snow on the roads, and we're starting to ride, this is the most dangerous time. Why? Because many people have had the whole winter to kind of go, we don't see motorcyclists, right? We're not looking for them. And so we've trained our brain what to look for. This is the same thing that happens in our everyday life. We go through and we program our things and not see other things. So this is the energy that Freyja teaches us about. She teaches us about managing this emotional filter, which allows us to or not to see these different things around us, our reality. Our emotions will dictate what our brain sees, what our brain registers as things, people, places. So, very important that we recognize that for us to see happiness, we have to feel happy, right? We have to allow us things. It's all about programming the brain. The same thing applies for healing ourselves. We see it, we make it. So when we feel it, and we can really wrap our heart and mind around the feelings, that's what we're going to look for. We're going to program our brain to now see those things and bring it into our lives. So we're going to take a real quick break. When we get back from break, I want to talk about how you can set your brain to see the things that you want to see, to encounter the experiences that you want to have in this reality. All right? So we'll be right back after this short message.
In the air. The time is now.
We're all waking up.
We're waking up.
We're all waking up.
It's all shifting.
New vibrations.
It's you.
It's you.
It's me.
It's all of us.
Together.
A new time.
A new day.
A new energy.
A new energy.
New reality.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
newrealitytv.com.
All right, welcome back, and thank you for taking that short break with us. Today we're talking about the energy management of Freyja, and we're talking about how to bring that in to establish our reality the way we want to see it. This is also going to bring in energies for healing and energies for intellect and energies for all kinds of really good things that we want. So let's look at how we can do that, how we can build a plan to do that. So one of the first things that when people come to me and they're depressed, as an example, but it works for pretty much everyone. One of the tools that I'm going to use and kind of help them use to kind of change their perspective is to begin to actively seek that which we want. So, as an example, for those who are maybe suffering from a little depression or a little, underachievement, maybe, one of the first things I want us to do is take a piece of paper, which is the best way, certainly notes on your phone, whatever it's going to take. And I want you to take note from the time you wake up, the first thing in the morning, as soon as those eyes are awake, we're going to start actively looking for things, events, experiences that bring us joy, peace, harmony, love, all of those things we're going to actively seek. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to set numbers. The best way to do that, I have found, is to establish some bar. So I say, let's start with 25. We're going to actively seek 25 things that bring us joy, harmony, peace, love, comfort, contentment. We're going to find 25 items, experiences, in the first hour and a half we're awake. Whether that hour and a half includes a commute to work or commute to school, or maybe a stay-at-home parent, maybe just stay at home, whatever it is. Even stay where you are because you don't have a home. Matters not. We're going to find 25 things that bring us joy. Now you're saying, well, that's quite a few. I mean, my life is pretty busy and it's not super exciting and it's not really where I wanted to be or whatever, right? 25 things I want you to find every day. And I want you to do that for 14 days. 14 days, 2 weeks. And that includes Saturdays and Sundays. It includes holidays, everything, right? 14 days, you're going to actively seek 25 things every morning. And you're going to write them down. I always make note of them. I can come up with hundreds every day. Why? Because I've done this a lot, and as a experienced individual who knows what to look for in my reality, to me, it's fairly easy. But we're going to start with 25. Once we do it for 14 days, we're going to up the count. Why? Why am I being punished? Because now it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier to find those 25 things when you actively seek it. So from 25, we're going to go to 50. And we're going to do 50 for 7 days. All right? And you're like, whoa, man, that's a lot. And so, but trust me on this one, when I tell you, you're going to be good at looking for them. When you first start, the first couple of days, you may struggle. You may not even get to 25. You may find 5, 6, maybe even 8. And you'll be like, oh, man, this is hard. But when we actively keep searching for it, it'll become easier. At the end of your 2 weeks for that first 25, when you're finding the 25 for those first 14 days, at the end of that, you'll be able to whip through 25 fairly quickly. It'll be fairly easy. And then 50 simply continues throughout the day, right? So you're going to find, you may find 30 things during that first hour and a half, and then the other 20 will be after it. And then by the end of that 7 days, you'll get 50 in the hour and a half. The key is that we continue to grow. We're continually searching that which will bring us joy. We're actively seeking. When I was doing my shamanic training, and I was visiting these shaman who were even older than I was at the time, I had a great idea, they taught me that we will find what we look for. We will actually find that which we seek. So if we're going through our lives and we're seeking division and pain and anger, or we're not actively seeking anything at all, more often than not, we're going to receive kind of a less than neutral. Maybe not a negative, but not a positive. We're not actively seeking positivity. When our brain gets trained to start looking for that, our whole perspective on reality changes. You will see things come into your life that are wonderful, that are beautiful, that you want, that maybe those goals and dreams I had back when I wasn't looking for these things, maybe that's not so important after all. What I really need is this love or inclusion or whatever it is that you're actively seeking. So the 25 in the first hour and a half becomes 50 in the first hour and a half. And then the fourth week, this is the fun one, is you're going to start setting records, your own records. Your bar means nothing to me. Your bar means nothing to anyone else in your world, anyone else in life. It's only you. And you're going to now look for as many things as you can find for 7 days. So you're going to set personal best, high scores. You're going to go for as many as you can find in the whole day. So for the last 7 days, you're going to spend the whole day finding ways and things that bring you joy. Now remember, not only can you find these things that already exist in reality, but you can make them as well. So when we talk about kindness and harmony with others, this is something we can do that just kind of brings us joy, right? So it counts. And the more we can do of that, obviously, the more we're creating joy and peace for ourselves. Now, I know it's stacking the deck, but ultimately, that's really the idea behind harmony. Is kindness, is pleasance, and just everything about wanting to be harmonious. That's really a part of our desired state, is this inclusion. Humans are innately built to be harmonious with fellow humans. We're societally based creatures. It is who we are. So that last 7 days, you're going to set high scores. Now, at the end of the 4 weeks, you say, well, then now what happens? Now what happens? You begin living. Because now you've trained your brain to look for the good. You're actively seeking that which is positive, love, harmonious, comfortable, those types of things. And your brain will now continue to look for those. You've trained it to now look. Actively seek. This is energy management. This is what Freyja really brought to Midgard, is the recognition of all these energies and thereby actively managing the energies at which we want, what we seek, what we want for ourselves. Now, don't get me wrong. You're going to find in your life where your desire, your immediate desire, you say, oh, I need this, or I want this, or whatever. That may not be your path. And your path may be revealed during your active seeking. Keep your mind and your heart open to whatever the universe and the gods bring to us, whatever that may be. All right? But remember to actively seek joy. actively seek love, peace, harmony, that which brings us just that good feeling inside. And remember, always, you have the opportunity to create that. You can use your kindness, your love, your harmony, your all about it. You can use that now to create one for yourself. Put one in the score sheet. All right? So you can do that. My friends, you are more than capable, and I totally look forward to hearing your wonderful stories about how you found all of those things that brought you joy and peace and love, and how you've incorporated that into your life. Love to hear them. This weekend, we're looking at healing. So again, we're going to actively seek that which brings us feeling better about ourselves, feeling better about our situation, our world, everything incorporated. So we're really actively seeking that. So use this weekend to begin to train your brain to switch. If you're constantly seeing a whole lot of negativity in your life, or maybe even neutrality, it's not as good, trust me, as the positivity and the light that you can also use the same focus to find. All right, so find those things, heal your mind, heal your heart, heal yourself. Get ready for next week. That's packed with all kinds of experiences like you haven't imagined that can bring you joy and love. All right, so this one's on you. So let's sit down, let's draw up our sheets, and let's find those things that bring us joy and happiness. All right? My friends, enjoy Freyja's Day. I look forward to seeing you again on Mani's Day, where we'll discuss the control, the mental control that you have, that you can dictate how your life goes, how your life unfolds, how reality is interpreted by your mind. So, you're in charge. All right, my friends, have a wonderful Freyja's Day. We will see you again on Mani's Day. Love and light.
Been watching for Felina's Belly Snake, a special production of Whispers of the Norse. Brought to you by the Alaska Wolf Hefnar in South Central Alaska. Guidance and wisdom, courtesy of an ancient Celtic Norse shaman. Thank you so much for joining us today.